Hello, Galaxy! I'm Chris Pirillo, and I'm an expert in being myself. I love sharing my thoughts, opinions, perspectives, advice, experiences with you, and I hope you enjoyed this experience together, because we're experiencing it right now. Of course, one size definitely does not fit all, so if I say something that you completely disagree with, feel free to let me know. Leave a comment. Of course, if you like the video, make sure you like the video. I appreciate you watching. I prefer to answer questions submitted to me directly from you, a part of the community, because I know I'm giving you exactly what you're looking for, my advice. Today's question came in privately, so I'm not sure if they wanted me to reveal their handle or not, but that's what I'm going to answer today. I'm going to read. Hey Chris, I have a question that you can answer for your advice tonight on the stream. It's something that's been on my mind, but I couldn't think of how to ask until now. My question is, how do you know how to start talking to people, sometimes the way today's society is, and how some people seem to get mad or offended so easily over something that wouldn't have offended in the past? So I realized that by answering this question, I could be wading into controversial territory, but I'm going to do my best to explain my position, what I try to do in moments, certainly when I'm communicating with people that I may not know, that I don't have a relationship with, and that's pretty much what I do on a daily basis, whether we're talking about these advice videos or that we're talking about the stream he was referring to. I do a live stream on Twitch every night at 6 p.m. I'm live streaming this particular recording, actually, there right now. You know, I've got an issue with how people have painted what's been going on with society lately. There's a term called cancel culture and the fear of being canceled. Here's how I feel about that. First of all, we've all done wacky things in our past. We've done things that we probably would not do again. And certainly if we did certain things 30 years ago, we may be different people. I would hope we are different people than we were 30 years ago. So it's difficult for me to not contextualize something that happened eons ago. Maybe it was more acceptable. The behavior was more acceptable. It didn't make it right. I'm not saying it was right. I'm not. I'm saying that the conditions that surrounded a particular action or behavior a while back are completely different than today. Like, we understand more, we see more, we have far greater awareness for every reason, right? And that's good. We become more aware. Moreover, when someone is, and this is the word I'm going to come back to, held accountable for something that they did, that is what matters, right? They're held accountable, and they are accountable, and they believe they're accountable. Did they recognize that the behavior then was potentially not something that they should have done? It was acceptable. That doesn't excuse it. Was it a good, perceived as a good behavior? Not by today's standards, but by any standards, right? So this is where I take issue with some people getting mad or offended so easily. I think people have always been mad or offended. I think that's always been the case. It's just that we've never had an easier opportunity to display or share those feelings with other people. And the internet makes it really easy, right? I've said for the longest time, Twitter's a great place to tell the world what you're thinking before you've had a chance to think about it. And that very much holds true. But if you're offended and someone who says something to you and it offends you, I think you're well within your right to say that happens to offend you. And if that's the case, or if you say something that's offensive and they tell you it's offensive to them, you have to be accountable for that in that moment, or you have to be accountable for your past behaviors. See, that's where I think there's a disconnect, because it's all about accountability. Like, if someone's accountable, okay, yeah, it's still hurt, it's still offended, but thank you for being accountable. Thank you for apologizing for potentially stepping over that line. Maybe you didn't recognize it, and you're listening now to correct this from potentially happening, and potentially showing or illustrating or teaching others that they also don't have to do what you did, whether it was with intention or as a product of its time, whatever it happens to be, it's that accountability. So I have an issue with the phrase cancel culture. I have an issue with it. I think it's accountability culture. That's what it is. People expect people to be accountable, right? They're not, I don't think, setting out to cancel, right? It's when people are defiant in the face of having done something that stepped over a line that they may not have known existed. So you can't assume that everything was always done with intention. You can't. You absolutely can't. Now, you can frame a situation based upon past behavior and these certain patterns, right? But are you accountable? I'm going to give you a more relevant result that kind of speaks to this, right? I did something the other day that really upset Jedi. I mean, really upset. And I felt bad. I'm like, Jedi, like, what can I make? Can I make it up to you? And she was upset. She was crying, and I was like, I didn't realize. I thought we had come to a decision before. I was wrong. So she did her thing. She went off. Let her be. But I waited about 20 minutes, half hour, and I kind of she was in the bathroom, and I knocked on the door. It's like it's me. Just wanted to talk. And I got down like eye to eye level, and I said, Jedi, I gotta let you know, I'm sorry. I apologize for that. I shouldn't have done that. I am accountable for that. I am responsible for my behavior. So I told her very clearly that I was aware that I stepped over a line with her, if only so we could work towards a resolution together, rather than just live in this having her hold on to that indefinitely. She's also got to learn how to let go, right? She can't fall back to that. I said, look, I've already apologized for that. I've already said I'm accountable for it, and I tried to work towards a solution with you on this, a reasonable solution to address the situation. But that doesn't mean you got to relive it over and over. And some people do that. Some people relive that moment over and over and over again. Look, there's only so much accountability that someone can take. There's only so much that's it. I've taken full accountability. I've taken full responsibility. I have apologized. I put myself out there, right? I'm like, I did it. I have apologized for it, etc., etc. So that's what I think people are driving toward when it comes to this. I'm not going to call it a movement, but when you say that people get mad or offended, maybe that's a moment where you could kind of, I don't know what the word or the phrase is that I want to use here, like open your eyes, open your heart to a different perspective. Because there are many things that I've said and done unintentionally, and when it happens, I get a little embarrassed, right? I'm like, oh, my first reaction is, get angry, right? But like, oh, okay, that was not my intention. So if I say that's not my intention, someone else has to accept. They have to accept that was not my intention. That was not how I meant it to come across, right? Not, well, I'm sorry you feel that way. No, it's your responsibility. You said it. So if you have a fear of saying something that's going to offend or get somebody mad, I would say that's not a good fear to live in, because that's not reasonable. Understand certain issues may be sensitive to different people. I do this all the time. Apparently I've done it recently, and people have told me. I'm like, sometimes I run off the mouth. Like, I'm just talking. I'm just saying things. Because it doesn't mean anything to me, but it may impact somebody else. Well, my responsibility is to be responsible for myself and to do my best to avoid those pitfalls. But there's only so many pitfalls I can avoid, because inevitably I'm going to say something that someone else is going to trip into. If things that I put out there don't really work for other people, they of course have the responsibility to not be there, right? But that doesn't mean that I would just continue to plow through and offend, knowing full well that I was throwing people off. As soon as I'm aware of the behavior, then I have a chance to adjust it because I'm accountable for it, because that's the last thing I want to do. But there's only so much you can do, right? So just be accountable, right? For the things that you say and the things you do. Open your mind to a potentially different perspective that may not align with yours, and understand that their feelings are going to be different because they have different experiences than you. So, honestly, I would just say talk and learn how you could better communicate with the people that you might fear, tripping, if you will. But certainly, keep bettering yourself and expanding your understanding of how people work.